Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Reel Debaters. I'm Michael Petrow, your host and one of the debaters on the show. This week, it's another Real Talk, ladies and gentlemen. I've got Aaron and Steve Taylor from a couple of the previous episodes, some of the early episodes back in the living room. A couple things we talked about off the top of my head. We did a Star Wars review because it's the first time the three of us have been in the room to talk about it. We talk about accents and casting decisions and finding out if the actor can really nail it or not. We do the James Bond conversation about how Barbara Broccoli confirmed that James Bond will always be cast as a man and why she thinks that's a good thing. And lastly, we do star power. We took a look at a current actor and then kind of guessed, why they would still be around in 20, 30 years, and did a little mini debate before the end of the show. That's what's on deck today. If you're looking to sponsor the podcast, I've mentioned this previously, send us an email at reeldebaters@gmail.com. That's THEREEL debaters@gmail.com. We got some really good first-time sponsor pricing going on right now. So it's just a conversation. Send us an email. We can talk about it. Lastly, Jimmy Skinner and Chris Stanton from the show. They run some great live comedy rooms around Winnipeg. So if you're looking for something to do during the week and you like comedy, follow us on Instagram. You can see all their stuff there. Then you can follow them and always know where they're doing their shit. I got nothing else. So without further ado, I'll give you the reel and you enjoy the show. Sitting in a room with only the two people I know that have actually seen Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Me and Aaron went to go see it. Aaron, I'm going to turn the TV off because you are completely enamored by what's going on in front of
Paul
you.
Walker.
By Paul Walker.
Paul Walker's dreamy blue eyes.
Yes.
All right, we can't put a movie on in the background while we podcast. End of story. But me and Aaron went to go see it together. Steve, you saw it, a couple weeks ago? Like early January?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I don't know. All my time blends together, so I don't know what I'm...
Is that because of being a father, or is that...
Sure, being a father, working in TV.
You can't tell.
It's all just things. But I have seen it.
Okay. So
matinee, probably.
I know what Aaron thought of it. Let's start with your opinion, like just a brief overview of it, because we're going to break into another topic shortly, but it would be nice to just chew the fat on this for a second. Rating, first of all, Steve, what would you give it out of 10?
What? Out of 10?
Out of 10.
I don't know, 6.5.
And defend that. Why?
Because I still enjoyed it. It still had parts to it that I really liked. I really liked the Rey Kylo story that was established in the first one. It was insane. Everything happened.
That's one way to put it, I guess.
A lot of that everything could have not have happened and focused on other things. But yeah, it's pretty good.
It's
decent.
I don't want to out Aaron here, but I know that you were so interested in it that you took 4 naps during it, I think, at some point. You had a really long day, but I think you woke up and fell asleep at the most pivotal points. Is that safe to say, or did you have to go?
So he has no idea what I'm talking about when I say Kylo and Rey.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
No, can I talk spoilers?
You can talk. It's been long enough. We on the show it's a 2-week window, and then otherwise, spoiler alert for everybody. But go on.
Yeah, I fell asleep during the lightsaber battle. The second one, I suppose. It was like, okay, familiar. They're not going to kill each other, so what the fuck? All right. You're still only an hour and a half into this. I'm going to take a nap. I don't know. I'm jaded when it comes to Star Wars. Anyways, but I woke up at the pivotal moment when Kylo Ren turned into Jesus and gave his Jedi soul, his force power, and transferred it to Rey, so Rey can, become a hermit. Whatever. It's fucking stupid. I hate.
Wait, so you missed the shrug? The best part?
What do you mean the shrug?
The Ben Solo shrug?
What?
Yeah, what? It's like my favorite part of the whole movie is the shrug. he's surrounded by his knights of whatever they are, and then they do their little mind meld, and he gets her lightsaber, and then he just does the little shrug.
Oh, okay. So
Shrug and a smile, and then kicks their ass.
Well, I'm sorry, Steve. I fell asleep during the best part.
You missed my favorite line too. It was.
They fly now.
No, it was. My favorite line was "ow."
Like
when he's getting the when
he jumps and he lands on a giant piece of chain and he goes "ow, ooh, ow."
When?
Right before his shrug.
during one of your 4 naps. The point I'm making
is it safe to say, sorry to cut you off?
Yeah, no.
That I did not see the movie.
You might. Yeah,
it's safe to say that you came with me and you were a great fucking sport. But the point I'm trying to make here is that it was the end of 9 movies. Hopefully we don't have to see another one, which is where the point's coming. But it's kind of an accumulation of history, and you fell asleep during it. And I don't like Steve and me. I agree with Steve. Like I give it a solid 6 out of 10 because it's very convoluted. They tried to fit way too much into a short period of time. And now knowing that the original script, Colin Trevorrow, is that his name?
I don't know. I don't know much about this leaked script.
Well, it was his version of what it should have been, and it was really good. It had the original juice that Star Wars kind of like. Everybody's in a different point in the galaxy, which is still in this one. But it just had a better teaming of the characters. It had more story. I don't want to paraphrase it and go into it without knowing it really. But the point I'm trying to make here is that we've all grown up with this, and one of us napped and 2 of us are fairly disappointed in it. Taika Waititi it's been released that Taika Waititi is going to be getting a Star Wars movie. My question is, should Star Wars take a knee? Aaron?
They should have took a knee after the prequels, and possibly wait. I don't know. Like what was the time lapse? I think the last prequel was 2003 or 4 or something.
So you think that we should have stayed at 4, 5, and 6 and never done the prequels,
okay,
or the prequels were everybody should have been like, okay, enough's enough.
Well, I guess the interest was there, like the products and merchandise, but it was 83 to 1999 is when that was the gap between the original series and the prequels, and those original movies built lore and inspired like books and novels and role-playing bullshit. Not for me, but up to that point, I could literally say I was a Star Wars fan, and I love Star Wars, even through the fault of Return of the Jedi, where Han Solo had nothing to do for about an hour and a half and blah blah blah. But I don't know. Yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is they should actually possibly just maybe give it a break for about a decade, get that interest built up, actually be methodical about what they're going to do next, and just not try to fucking cover familiar territory. It's the same fucking story again and again and again. The prequels, these ones, and the original series. It's boring. It's been done.
It's like everybody's caught in a loop. They use the same story and they just go, okay, 20 years later, okay, 15 years before. Is that what you're kind of getting at?
No, my point is shared by many. As these are not original thoughts, but I agree with those thoughts. I'm like, it's we're humans. We collect. We're a little bit biased. Everyone's biased.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I'll forever defend something that people hate. And vice versa. And
you social justice warrior.
I am a social justice warrior.
Steve, what about you? What do you think they should like with like? I mean, we talk movies, but okay, the Obi-Wan series that's now put on hold because apparently script rewrites are definitely needed. Kathleen Kennedy is all over this with a fine tooth and nail. The Solo movie, not that great. I think the only good one out of the new 3 is Rogue One. Rogue One I absolutely loved because it pieced a lot together, right? It was a piece that was in between movies instead of obviously rebooting the series and then using, I see you're holding your hand, Aaron, and instead of using the same story over and over again. But okay, Steve, what do you think? Like, take a break?
Of what? What was the question?
You realized this.
Does Star Wars suck or not?
Yeah, does Star Wars need to take a breather, or can they continue with the momentum that they're obviously trying to go with?
One word: reboot. No, just kidding. No. If you're listening, do not. I'm not. Disney overlords of Star Wars, if you're listening, I did not mean that.
Let's
Do not
reboot
touch
the
it.
reboot.
Yeah.
Well, it's just so evident now that like the $4 billion price tag that they paid to get the series, they're obviously wanting to make their money back on that. But at what cost to the story, I guess? Because Force Awakens, yes, we can all agree, soft reboot. The Last Jedi went in a different direction, still okay. Like 3/4 of the movie was great. The ending was a little meh, and the whole angry, crotchety Luke throughout the entire series. I mean, everybody wanted Luke to come back and be some badass, but yes, okay, it's been 30 years. He's probably slightly geriatric at this point. But Rise of Skywalker has nothing to do with the rise of a Skywalker. It wrote Palpatine in just out of nowhere in the first 30 seconds of
and like
the movie.
1,000 Star Destroyers.
And like there's so many plot holes. Like it obviously
out of the ground.
Yeah.
And where'd all the people come from?
right. You know, like how has this temple not been
Where did
found
all
for
those
years?
British people come from to man those ships?
And why did they wait that long? It's like how many 10,000 Star Destroyers? Like
That's a pretty big secret to keep. And I
They
mean,
can all kill a planet.
again, these are plot holes for days.
Yeah. Anyway, the sequels are kind of pointless, actually, if you think about it, because they follow a new set of characters. Like it ropes in, like the sequels only rope in the past storylines. Like the original series and the prequels are all about sort of a continuous group of people that are related because it's all one family, which was a stupid decision, but it's all one family and how they grow. And then all of a sudden with these sequels, they just brought in new characters and then threw in the old characters to kind of be like, hey, remember, it's Star Wars.
Yeah, no,
remember Luke, remember Leia.
Like they're hanging on to a legacy.
Yeah,
so
so it's
speak.
like the sequels should have just continued, with the Luke, Leia, Han story, almost just as old guys, and then have these new guys be the supporting ones.
Grumpier old Skywalker.
Grumpy. or not call them sequels and have
Standalones.
Like for example, if the sequels in quotations could have been their own little trilogy with those characters in that world, 100 years from
Sure.
what happened before.
I just
Or, it kind of just went middle of the road with it, which is probably the biggest shame.
missed opportunities is what you're saying?
Sure.
I think they just stop cold turkey. Just stop.
Well, they
Like we don't need Star Wars anymore. There's other things.
It's
There's
not special anymore.
It's not special anymore. And then you get Marvel kicking ass. You got who fucking needs Star Wars anymore?
in a world of where blockbuster movies are.
Why can't Disney learn from Disney and just do it right? Fuck.
Well, that's what I was thinking too recently. Was where like
Don't they talk to each other? Don't they? Like,
doesn't Marvel and Disney talk?
Are they in the same office, like across the hall? Can they just be like, "Yo,
Star Wars.
I got a problem here"?
There's a
Okay,
thing called-
Marvel.
There's a thing called social media. Have you been hearing the outcry as of late?
Just slide into their DMs and talk to each other, guys.
Just like
Yeah.
But no, you guys make valid points where like it is exhausted and
Share a lunchroom.
and I walked into Force Awakens with excitement and hope and going, okay, Disney, the big machine, they've got the money to make this right. And they did. Force Awakens, as much as everybody says, yes, I agree. It's a soft reboot, right? But it's a reboot to a story that we were familiar with. And then it takes these hard lefts and hard rights because apparently Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams just didn't talk at all, like, about any sort of creative ideas going forward. Because if you go that hard in two different directions, you'd think that these guys, like, they'd put them all in the room and go, okay, how do we cap this properly?
I think
I think Rian Johnson got paid a lot of money just to try and ruin it. I think he was like,
yeah.
"Can you build this
See how much we could fuck this up for.
Well,
I'm just gonna-
I think the third movie, what's it called again?
Rise of
Rise
Skywalker.
of
Skywalker.
I know you
Skywalker.
fell asleep, but Rise of
Yeah, yeah.
Skywalker.
Rise of Ben Solo, the redemption of Ben Solo.
There's 9 of these fucking movies. They all sound the same. The same titles. Which is good marketing, I suppose. It's consistent at least.
Branding.
But I think they were trying to rectify Rian Johnson's mistakes, and I guess the fans' outcry of how they treated Skywalker and Luke and blah 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 blah. So I think there was a lot to rectify that movie with this movie. And so when I'm saying what Steve's earlier point, they just jammed in, like, it was like a gigantic apology. It was trying to wrap up the story. Let's bring back everyone's favorite villain from the fucking dead.
Right.
And it's like,
technically, after reading
is he not dead still? Like they can rectify, they can make him, return. Like, they just make up an excuse. It was the Force. His spirit went to a fucking frog.
That's what I'm saying, is that it was such a weak bring back where, like, the first original script carried a storyline where Ben was called to the planet where Palpatine was. Like, it wasn't so instant in the story where, like, as soon as the credits roll, it's like, Palpatine is back. It's like, fuck you. You just wrote this in. Okay? Like, you're not marketing this movie to new Star Wars fans. You've got Star Wars fans that were 12 when the first 3 came out. Now we're in our late 30s, early 40s. These are the fans that you should be marketing to. So when you write something like that in so weakly, you alienate your base. Yeah. I guess is the point I'm trying to make.
Actually, to what you're talking about, the opening there, just right off the bat, introducing Palpatine again. I liked his little Frankenstein lair of, like, a laboratory. I'm like, oh, they kind of dove into
Snoke in, like, a case in the background.
His Snokes and all that. It was kind of it was fucking hammy, but I kind of enjoyed it. It was. I don't know.
It's a good idea. It was just badly placed, where the original script had Ben, like, there was a calling to Ben, right? And nobody really knew who it was. And about halfway through the second act, that's when he finds the Jedi compass, I guess we'll call it. I can't remember the actual name of it because there's so much in the fucking movie.
Was that compass established from the previous movies?
That comic book thing or something.
Oh, fuck off.
In the comic books and graphic novels, apparently Darth Vader left it in the down Death Star.
When they find it with their Goonie style.
Did you guys read this?
Goonie style knife.
Yeah.
I almost forgot. Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah. And
it at this very angle, in this positioning.
Yeah,
what
if she was 3 steps to the left and did that?
No,
It was the Force that brought her there.
Yeah, right. The Force told her to stand there.
It's not a plot hole.
How about like the shared Force? Like, all of a sudden, a bunch of forgotten stormtroopers on a planet all have the Force, and then Finn all of a sudden says, I have the Force too. Like, I thought the Force was like a private club. Right, like, you had to be special to get it. Now,
which stormtroopers had the Force?
That female that he ran into, she was also a fallen stormtrooper. What? You fell asleep.
Oh, yeah, no, I thought you said she had the Force though.
She's talking. They heavily implied that something was growing inside all of them, and that they could channel each other through the Force, because that's how Finn found them. Right, like there was like some sort of internal beacon that he was following. Which,
well, they landed on a planet and they came up to them.
Well, yeah, but there is. I can't.
Wait, wasn't there a rumor that it was that fallen stormtrooper or whatever was Lando's kid or something?
Maybe
wasn't.
There was a lot left.
Well, he has a weird line going, "You're just getting started" or something.
That's true. Yeah,
I like the deserted stormtroopers thing. I like that. I don't really get the whole New Order thing or all that stuff. Like, I think the sequels, if they left everything the same, the grand overarching background shouldn't be this New Order fighting a resistance. It should have been like an all-out galactic war with the remnants of the Empire.
Yeah,
because if the Death Star just blew up, that doesn't mean all these billions of ships and guys just stop. They just appoint a new boss.
Yeah, if we know anything
and keep
about
going, like the way governments work.
Yeah, there's always a second and third in command.
Yeah,
you just don't park everything in the
I
garage.
I guess we'll quit because I only have 6 million Star Destroyers and no Death Star anymore.
Yeah,
if the story opened up and it was like this civil war that was raging between remnants of the Empire and the New Republic, right, as your backdrop. So kind of it could explain a lot of these little things.
Scale back the story a bit, like less of a grander picture. And
stop making it rebellion, scrappy stuff. But it's okay. We're trying to build something here, and these guys are trying to stop us. And
they kind of did that with Rogue One, and they fucking failed. I'm sorry. I know you liked the movie. I just didn't think.
Rogue One was still rebelling against the Empire,
which is why I liked it. But it also fits in there's a lot of.
I would have liked
the way they made it.
I would have liked Rogue One more if it wasn't about the Death Star and if it didn't act as a gap between the sequels, the prequels, and the original ones. I would love to see a full-on R-rated war movie set in that universe. That'd be cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, actually, but
Like a friggin' like Saving Private Ryan, but like
with actual memorable
Stormtroopers.
characters, maybe.
yeah.
like instead
Real
of just
good characters.
Instead of a lady that's like, I don't want to do this. Okay, I'll do it.
dude,
And I'm a leader.
Whatever. Fucking Mary Sue's.
The-
Make your characters complex a little bit. You know what I mean? Fucking Rey. She
Let's see a
stinks.
Paths of Glory
Yeah.
version of Star Wars. They kind of did it a bit in
Oh.
Han Solo, in the Solo one where he's like in the trenches. That
Yeah.
was kind of cool. That was my favorite part of that. Was where he's like, I'm a pilot. I shouldn't be here. And it's like trench warfare. Like that was my favorite part.
Speaking of trench warfare, everyone, you guys seen 1917?
No.
I'm
not yet,
trying
not
to get
yet,
there. Have
not
you seen
yet.
it? Aaron?
Fucking A.
Yeah?
It's good.
How are the one like? I mean, apparently
don't even talk about it.
you don't want to talk about it yet,
No,
Steve.
I don't want to talk about
It's Steve. You would cream your pants for all the long shots that were featured in the movie. It's just I love detail, and they did not miss anything. That's all I'll say about 1970.
I have a question though, because Jimmy saw it, and a couple other people at work have seen it. And does it really look like one long take? Like, can you
Yes.
tell?
I know they obviously digitally spliced it here to make it a long take, but there was scenes where it's just like, how do they fucking do that?
Well, I know
It was this camera following this conversation, and they're walking past trenches, and they're going in trenches, and it's from the outside perspective, or you're watching them, and then the camera will turn around to their perspective, their viewing, and it was just done obviously digitally, but it was just this is flawless sort of transition, and it was like this opening scene. That's all I'll say. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, no,
You know,
that's
so
fine.
it was a feast to the eyes. Anyone who likes war movies or movies in general.
Steve, are you wanting to see it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just got to find time. The best time for me for movies actually are late shows once the kids go to bed. And I love going to Grant Park because I can just book my ticket and no one's going to take my seat. And I can come in last minute. And
I what I can compare it to is Dunkirk, and I think
I love Dunkirk.
and I think I like this more than Dunkirk.
I can
Shots
tell you,
fired.
I watched a couple how they made 1917 clips on YouTube.
I've
and-
avoided those because I just didn't want to spoil it.
Yeah, no, I couldn't. I got sucked in after Jimmy said it was like he's like, if it doesn't win Best Picture, I'm going to burn my house down. I'm like, wow, that's a pretty bold fucking statement. But there's when they go out of the
That's right. Show Hollywood. Some dude in Winnipeg burned his house down because a movie didn't win a gold statue.
Oh my god!
next on TMZ.
Oh, okay.
Let's support him on that.
Yeah, Jimmy, it didn't win. Should I bring the gasoline and
How do you want to make this?
You
Accidentally?
Did he do it over the lack of diversity? No.
Did she do it over the lack of inclusion with females? No.
No, he just liked the fucking movie. Isn't that good enough?
But no, in these clips I saw, where they did the little editing tricks was if they left a trench and turned inside to go underground and it went to black, or if a bomb went off and smoke went up, those were the moments where they could trick you, a trick of the eye.
Those are old school
I
tricks.
think.
That's what they said.
I think Birdman did that too. I think if I were to compare it to, it was like that one long sort of take.
If anything fills the screen fully for a second, like someone walking past, if they fill up the whole frame, bank, that's a cut.
Yeah, it's freaking.
That's how you do
I love it.
It was
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's a good movie, and just to go, tie this all together. What's Aaron's rating for Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
A solid 5.
I'm not surprised by that.
Actually, I'm really surprised I said that. I was gonna go for a 4.
I thought it was higher. I thought you would go lower.
I'll say a 5. I do like what's his face, Adam Driver.
Yeah, he's good.
I like him. I think he was carrying the movie. To be honest, his character was carrying the movie. Rey is her character is not developed. It's whatever.
It's rushed.
My second favorite line was the callback to Empire Strikes Back when he was like, "Dad," and he goes, "I know."
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good.
I was awake.
was pretty good.
I was awake for that.
Yeah.
I was awake for
That
that.
was like
That's
that was
right after
just
the-
that was just enough nostalgia. Remember this, but without being completely
on
like
the nose
smashing you in the face with it.
Yeah.
Like,
It was like
it wasn't like
okay.
it wasn't
That was
like
good.
Lando saying, Hi. It's like, oh, it's Lando. Everyone clap here,
Yeah.
you monkeys. Jeez.
I liked
Clapping
this,
seals.
with my 6 out of 10 that I give it. I really liked the movie. It was action packed. It was full of twists and turns and what the fucks, for the lack of what they did throw in that was too much on your face.
Cavalry charge on a Star Destroyer.
Yeah. Fucking World War One.
What were those things they were on again? They were like that was a throwback to Empire 2.
Or the freaking last movie where they also run around on horseback.
That's true. Yeah.
It's fucking like trench warfare in like Spaceland.
And
Like,
what about the kid?
What the fuck?
Like the kid at the end of Rise of or The Last Jedi, like the kid who's playing
Yeah.
with the mop, like that never came back. Like there was no.
Oh, the casino world.
Yeah, you know, like just so
Casino
many.
World. It's like Mario Brothers. The Casino World.
Fuck you, establishment. Oh my god,
Fuck you, Benicio del Toro, for just being there for some reason.
Here's a little weird.
And Captain
clicks.
Phantasm that just died for no reason, even though she was like super cool, but nothing happened to her.
She was built up as a fucking badass. She was built up to be like, what?
Well, she could have been
Han Solo's Chewie to Adam Driver's.
Yeah, she could have been. She could have been a New Hope's type of Darth Vader, right? Like the dog on a leash type enforcer,
or fucking a Wez to Lord Humongous in Road Warrior.
Sure. I don't know that good enough.
That's why I kind of shut up. I was like, I'll let him go off on that.
I really want to talk about Road Warrior one of these days. I love that movie. I love Mad Max, the series and as a whole. Anyways.
2 days ago, I saw a vehicle that had hauled that tanker. You want to get out of here? You talk to me.
My question is, is that okay? So authenticity in acting is about acting, right? It's about portraying something. But where do you draw the line? Where let me rephrase. I was trying to segue into, do you demand that your actor is authentic in all way, shape, or form, or are you okay with them stretching their abilities because that's what they're hired to do? And I was bringing it up with accents, right?
It's called
acting. That's the point of what I'm trying to get at, is that you have to consider certain choices when you're casting somebody, but at the same time, you have to go, okay, this is acting, right? So can you find the best person for the role? Sure. Should you include more than just their skills? Yes. But there's some choices that are, okay, they have to act this out. And there's other ones where you can cast them properly, where it brings up Steve's point of like, okay, Asian is the roadblock, or whatever their race is. That's where you've got to be like, all right, we can't you can't paint that white, right? You should be looking for a specific person in that role. But
I think there's some parameters should be set.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should be to the T and limited as far as this movie is a bio on a one-legged lesbian who was 45 years old and was of mixed race. So we have to like,
you have to find that.
We have to find that, and God forbid if she is a quarter black or for that role, and it's the fact is, having this conversation is it's infuriating, and I don't know, it's an interesting topic. I don't know where I lie with it. I see the points from that perspective. Yes, I think more movies should feature primary roles for Hispanics, Asian Americans, people of mixed heritage, but
where do you draw the line at acting versus casting? That's the whole point of this. You can only include so much in your choice to cast the person, and then you have to rely on their toolbox to take it the rest of the way. But like, for example, when they made the Harriet Tubman movie that's out, okay, some director and some producer from like 10 years ago thought casting Julia Roberts as Harriet fucking Tubman was a good idea. That's how fucked up Hollywood is.
Yeah, I agree.
They thought a white person could play a black person's role. So finding the best black person, best African American to play that role is your job.
Is that actually a fact?
That's a fucking fact.
Oh,
that was
Jesus.
all over the news a couple weeks ago and all the entertainment news. It was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard.
There was a conversation
Especially
with
the context of that story.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, absolutely. I was just talking with my girlfriend about the casting for the live action Aladdin movie.
Excuse me, boy, where's your boss? Help me out here. Where's your boss? If I was going to talk to myself, I could have just stayed in the lab. Hello? Use your big boy voice.
And I remember she was kind of rolling her eyes at it, but it was also, as a person of Pakistani origin, she was just like, "Oh, this is Arabic. You know, like they should have Arabic actors."
That's exactly what I'm getting at.
The lead actress who played Princess Jasmine, and her background is of Bengal Indian and half white, and she's English. The other guy, I believe he was. Don't quote me on this. I think
He's from Toronto. I know that.
Well, he's from Toronto, and he I think he's also of Indian descent.
Yeah, definitely.
And there was people were up in arms. I'm like, they should be casted by Arabic actors, and I'm like, it's just like, okay, I see your point, but
Steve, coming from a film background, like what is the drama? Like, you don't have to out anybody here, but like when casting decisions are made, like, is there an equal balance? Because that's the big thing in Hollywood right now, is that like inclusion, making roles for anybody who's talented, instead of just whitewashing it to death, because that's just it's wrong, it's boring, and there needs to be a change.
I think I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm just laughing. I have no idea. I don't work.
I know
in
you're
casting.
not in casting, but like just from like
I build schedules and make sure people are doing their jobs.
Okay, yeah.
I honestly think Hollywood and this notion of this exclusivity and all this, I think Hollywood's trying to make up for what they've been doing wrong all these decades.
It's a slow process, but yes,
I think it's coming from a good place. I truly believe, but there's ways to kind of actually bring it to the this to kind of introduce it. I think it's just certain movies and certain initiatives of. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just
no. I get what you're saying. Like there's a time and a place and a proper way to do it.
Sure.
And if you don't do it right, it just looks like you're forcing it. Is that what you're saying?
It looks forced upon, which you're going to get insincere, and it also looks people don't like shit jammed down their throat, and certain people are going to take offense to it. You're going to offend everybody.
For example, in Endgame, Marvel's little nod to the fact that when they were doing the talking circle after the 5 years after the snap, Joel Russo's playing the character, and he makes mention that he went on a date, and he references it's a he. Now, that is a huge leap in Disney and Marvel Universe's world, because they're mentioning he, and Disney's base demographic is a lot of religious families, so they can piss off a lot of people with that. But that's awesome that they did that, because that's the attempt, that's the starting ground, right? And now they're also talking about introducing homosexual characters.
Actually, that was actually falsely reported. I remember it featured a Disney movie, and I think a Star Wars movie featuring a lesbian kiss. I'm like, oh, okay, who's coming out of the closet? What established character do we know? And it turns out it's some background actress making out with
right. It's like
a C-line character or whatever it was. I'm like, oh, come on.
You can't do that just to check a fucking box, right? Like it's got to be in the
foreground. We did our due diligence.
No, you didn't. Like let's see it.
Pat ourselves in the
front.
back. Like, fuck you. No, it's not.
Yeah. No.
Make a statement. If you're going to make that statement, make a fucking statement. Don't fucking blanket it like that. You know what I mean?
Totally.
That's stupid.
It is what it is. But like, to my original point, when you guys know that, like, okay, let's say Idris Elba is the perfect example of a guy who can hide his accent really fucking well. Like, he did it amazingly on the TV show The Wire. He's done it great in a lot of other movies. But when you have an actor on stage and you know that the accent isn't true, does it bother you? Do you want that person to... Like prime example would be Robert Downey Jr. in Doolittle, or Sherlock Holmes, right? He's got a Welsh accent in Doolittle. He's got an English accent in Sherlock Holmes, and then he's Tony fucking Stark. Do you want that person to have the traditional accent done, or are you okay with them stepping on it a little bit? I'm going to start with Steve because he's been sitting here quietly.
What?
Oh, there you go. See, yeah, now he's back. He's been taking a nap. Apparently, we're as boring as Star Wars.
Well, it's my chance to take a nap. Actually, your entire past 5 minutes or so of conversation all depends solely on story, tone, and the point of it.
Okay.
So if it was a comedy, then no, it doesn't matter accents.
Okay.
Right? But if they're playing a specific character that does have an accent, go for it. Like, use the accent.
Yes, no,
because that's part of that character, especially if they're a true character. They're part of that character's identity and
don't
establishment.
Just don't go full Kevin Costner in Robin Hood.
Well, don't go full Kevin Costner as meaning don't go halfway. And just go, this is hard, and stop.
But then there's the really weird thing like Valkyrie, where Tom Cruise
that
start
movie,
in German and then it eventually all of a sudden breaks and becomes English, and then there's multiple accents in the movie. Like, should he have a German accent when he switches to speaking English, or are we just supposed to be okay with the fact that he just starts speaking with his normal accent?
I don't know. Those are choices that him and the director have to make.
I know. What I'm getting at, though, is does it ruin the movie for you if the accent stops?
Well, personally, I'm horrible with accents. I can't even tell, like, Australia from New Zealand apart, really.
Okay.
But
that's actually kind of pretty fair, Steve.
Some Irish and some Scottish, unless it's, like, really thick.
Actually, you know what really throws me off? Like South American accents.
Like
it sounds like English, but I know it's like they have that Dutch dialect.
Oh, like South Africa?
What did I say?
Afrikaans?
What did I say?
You said South American.
America.
Oh God!
I was like,
yeah, you're talking
Brazilian
about
accents fuck you up?
there's an Africa?
Like you're talking Leonardo DiCaprio Blood Diamond, aren't you?
Yeah,
bling bling instead of bling bang.
Another movie with American actor playing a South African.
That's okay. Wherever you
a white South African.
I'm not going to argue your map. There's one right behind you if you need reference.
I thought he did a good job, but if you were to ask a South African, they'd be like, "Oh fuck, the dialect is completely off." I don't know. But that was his research, and I think he did to the best abilities. But also, I'm sure there's a lot of South African actors that could have easily played that role, right?
Yeah, but are they names, right? Because the name is what puts the asses in the seats. So Robert Downey Jr. as a Welsh Dr. Dolittle is going to hopefully pay off the $100 million that they're going to lose in the movie theater. Or would it be better to find a Welsh actor, right, who's a no-name who nobody's going to show up for? So and I guess, Steve, these are the decisions you're talking about when they have to sit down and figure this shit out. Is that an assumption, or is that kind of correct?
Yeah, when it comes to accents, that would all be a choice between the actor and the director on what they're going to go for. And then at some point, they're either going to get it or not, and that's just what they got to do. Accents, though, people don't tend to care as much about as skin tone and color. And physical features, because those things can't be changed, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So accents, it's like if someone failed on their accent but tried for it, cool.
It's more malleable, than like you like
and your
skin tone
and and your audience too. Like if the audience is North American and the guy is supposed to be trying to do an Afrikaans accent but can't do it right, no one in America is going to care. They can't tell the difference
unless you're a crazy movie snob who's demanding, like a better job or a better casting, like me. Like when I hear Hemsworth in the Moby Dick remake, and he's just stepping all over a Boston accent, and like every third word, his Australian accent is like slipping out. I'm like, you put him here because he's Thor, not because of his talent at accents. So either get him back with the dialect coach, or pull in get Mark Wahlberg, right? Like, I guess I'm sitting here as a
but if the accent's what throws you off, there's other problems with the movie. If you're sitting there and going, "Oh, his accent just jumped," there's something wrong with the movie. Not necessarily.
What do you mean?
Well, because you're paying attention to the accent, not to what's fucking going on.
I get it. Okay, so
you're not
yeah.
connected to the movie. You're not emotionally involved. You don't care, and so that's when you start noticing shit like
Interesting.
accents.
Okay, so
Mike's head cocked like a dog, and so did mine at that. I was like,
What-
please,
what- yeah,
okay,
elaborate.
Yes.
It's because you're not watching the movie anymore.
Yeah.
I
Like if the movie was good, you would not notice until someone brought it up who didn't like it later, and you go, "Oh yeah," because you'd be so wrapped up in the story.
But
like-
what if it was? Okay.
I mean, if it was really off or something.
well, what if
sure,
it wasn't
but-
like for instance, was he trying to spear a whale at that moment, or was he having like a one-on-one conversation just to kind of like establish a context?
I don't have like a scene per se, but I do vividly remember when he's being shipped off on his new ship and he didn't get his captain's detail. He's talking with his wife, and that's where it's just all over the map. It's Boston, Australia. So, but you do make a good point, Steve. If the movie's great in like 90%
forgive
of
it.
all the other aspects, you'll forgive it or forget it or not even notice it. So, but okay. I did like that movie for whatever the fuck. Do you remember the movie I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's called.
In the Heart of the Sea. There it is. I don't know. That just Heart of the Sea, which is the tale of Moby Dick.
Was it like I never read Moby Dick.
Timepiece.
Was it actually a direct?
It's based on the book.
It's based on the book, not on the novel. The story within the novel.
The story within the novel, the white whale, Moby Dick.
But what? Actually, educate me here. Was it actually based on a like true findings, true
It's
stories?
based on his time on a whaling
yeah, it's
ship.
based on whaling, just life at sea.
Yeah,
But the
Gotcha.
story is fictional.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I keep going back to the officer in the novel and the Gregory Peck Moby Dick. Movie from the
no,
50s.
not that one.
That fucking image stood with me where he was just like harpooned on the whale's back. Oh, it was like fuck.
Speaking of weird whale movies, did you guys ever see the movie Orca?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's so bad. Like that pregnancy scene is hard to like. That goes up there in like top 10 hard scenes to watch for me. Like when he's like,
Are we talking about Orca? That's just awesome.
like Orca, the movie where like
Yes.
the orca like haunts him up to the Arctic
Yes.
and like because he killed the.
Fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's a horrible movie. But like that one scene where they're like pulling the baby on board and it's crying
Yeah,
and the mother's
yeah.
oh my god, and like the shots of that angry eye. Or did you ever see it, Steve?
No.
It's not as good as Jaws. I'll say that.
No,
No, it's not. Oh.
no, not-
But if it's almost as good, it's still pretty good.
I think we've got differing opinions here on what almost good
Well,
means.
no, I haven't seen it. But
Actually, I'm more of a Piranha guy myself.
I love Piranha.
Yeah,
Piranha,
Piranha.
like the remake, the Piranha 3D.
Piranha: The Spawning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, James, a factoid: James Cameron actually took over directing
Original.
duties.
on the original one.
Or was it the original or the second
What
one?
is it? Oh, I don't know. It's one of those original era ones.
Oh, okay.
Roger Corman-esque ones.
Yeah. I think he was doing practical effects and then like second unit directing. Then he became the like, all right, I think the original director just
Yeah, because he just like
Quit.
latched onto Roger Corman and just took all the jobs from everybody on all those Roger Corman movies, and that's how he came up through the ranks.
He just overtook a movie after movie after movie.
Yeah, it sounds like he was like really tough to work with and very demanding, and just like would take over if there was like an opportunity to like usurp and take over. Like bang, he was in there.
yeah.
He was Game
that
of
guy-
Throning it before
Yeah.
Game of Thrones was
Yeah.
a thing.
Like, do you remember that scene in Aliens where I think it's still a fucking killer shot? It's where the face hugger is
Scampering across the floor.
scampering across, and she's skidding backwards, and it's coming for you, and it leaps right at her. And I'm like, how do they fucking do
Well,
that?
they get the shot of it leaping, and then they get the shot of her POV looking at it leaping at her. Like,
Not quite. Don't step on my story. I'm just fucking with you. No. They filmed it in reverse.
Yeah,
okay, so off the face,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
just like
okay,
yeah. Like just watch the scene, and it's like how they fucking do that. It was like, anyways, like he was directing, like that wasn't his fucking call, and it was like he had problems with the English special effects team, and he was like, how do you guys fucking get into this business? You guys stink. This is how you shoot it. I will shoot it in reverse. This is how you do it. Because like I think they were testing it out, and it's just like,
not working.
guys,
not working.
you guys are fucking idiots. And of course, he was a bit of a tirade because he was like, I did Terminator. I know what I'm fucking talking about. $5 million budget.
Do you think when he was done, every movie after that, at the end of the day, he would just be like, "I'll be back tomorrow"?
Oh, I don't know. I think in his head he became king of the world.
But I'm bump.
That's a terrible fucking joke. Thanks for the punctuation there, Steve.
You know.
Okay,
I got your back.
I got a quick question for all of us here. It is award season, right? The SAGs are done. The SAG actor is done. The Golden Globe is done. Oscars are on the way. Do you watch them, Steve?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
I don't even know.
I love industry awards. Talk to me about it.
Okay. Well, no, actually, but this is
I
good
don't
for
know.
Steve.
Sure. I mean, it's cool.
It is just a big gussy fest of everybody patting each other on the back and thanking their gods and all that shit. Like, but so my question here is that like, what would make them better? Because it sounds like Steve doesn't like watching them. So like, what would pull you in? Because they're not doing a host again this year. They've realized that no host obviously allows for more time, right? People can they can do longer speeches, they can do longer montages or dedications to the people who've passed away and all that. But what would make an award show really tick for you, Steve? Just off the top of your head.
Like the Oscars?
Any award show, like a running theme between them, or
I think for the Oscars, it's such a small group of people who pick the movies that are the best, and the movies that can be considered for as the best have a very narrow margin to get in. Like I think the rules are like, in order to be considered, you have to play in a studio in a theater in LA for 2 weeks.
It's a 3-month run, 90 days.
Or something like that.
It's
and
ridiculous.
then only 7,000 people choose out of the movies that play in LA. And then, of course, there's all that campaigning because it's all bought anyway.
Yep.
The best thing the Oscars could probably do is just blow that shit up and just be like, okay, let's have it's new age, new technology. Let's have 1 million people vote on what's the best movie anywhere.
So you think allowing the public maybe to vote, or more
Not
people in
the
the
public, but at least people who know shit. Like open it up so that anybody can vote in any movie that played anywhere.
So expanding
Which is
the nominations to
Sure.
from 5 to 10 didn't do it for you?
well,
well, I mean,
5 huge budget movies to 10 huge budget white savior movies. I don't know. Choose your pick. Which white savior movie do you want to win the Oscar?
He's
this
right.
year?
He's right. No matter what happens, they either forget women, or they forget color, or they forget special interest groups.
Are we talking about Green Book here?
Period?
No,
piece. No, it's just this is what it is. Which period piece biographical white savior movie do you want to win this year? I don't even know what the nominees are.
Historically speaking, it's one of those 7 things that just came out of his mouth, no matter what, and it's because it's a private club. If you brought in like, okay, let's say, Steve, like independent movie makers who aren't on the Academy list, if you brought in industry types who know enough that their opinion matters.
Yeah, I don't know how you pick these people. Not the public. The public's stupid.
So
we're stupid.
We're fucked up. Yeah, we don't know what we like.
You're going to get friggin',
Pootie Tang.
No, you'll get the Fast and Furious
Best art
movies.
direction.
The Fast and Furious movies would clean up every single year if you let the general audience pick.
Okay, yeah, because they like to be entertained.
So
you
still have to have a cutoff of people who know what is subjectively good filmmaking and know the
from
art
an editing
to
and a
point.
sound and a production perspective. Okay,
But definitely open it up, and then open up your ability to select which movies. Don't like it's. Okay, I have this movie. It's an amazing movie. It's the best movie in the world. Doesn't mean I can get it to play in LA for 3 weeks.
Exactly. Not everybody has the funds and the power to do so.
It might be the best movies ever made. We've probably never seen or heard of.
I agree. Some of the best movies I've ever seen are ones that you trip on.
Although,
right?
you know what, with these award accolades and all that,
which it's not about the award, it's about the work.
It's about the work. Anyways,
Quote, unquote.
I'm bringing up a specific movie which I really got my interest. I haven't seen it, but from what it's from it sounds like something refreshing and different. I'm referring to Parasite.
Sure, yeah, I want to see that.
But through these awards, and these accolades it's been receiving, I probably would never even hear of it. So
Well,
that's not.
It is an outlier.
It's an outlier, and that's not its sole purpose. I understand, but the thing is, like, honestly, if 1917 didn't have so much accolades, and that you get your,
You might miss it.
it may just be buried over. I'm like, oh, I don't know those actors and all that, but Sam Mendes is a very
Well, Sam
comparable
Mendes,
to this.
right?
Yeah,
There's the name, right? It's always a name that gets you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going back to like maybe a great story like Blood Diamond, right? If Leo wasn't in that movie, would I see it?
That's
That's
half the reason you cast somebody, right? Will people, they know his body of work, so they'll come for it now because they know that 9 out of 10 Leo movies, even The Beach, will make you happy, right? So, but the director has been on, like, I watched the SAGs, I watched the Globes, and at the Globes, I will mispronounce his name. I know his first name is either Bo or Boone. But he mentioned a really interesting thing. He said, once people get over not understanding the language and relying on the subtitles, your world of movies opens up.
I love subtitles.
I love fucking subtitles. Shauna got me hooked on subtitles.
I got hooked on them just because of like babies.
Because you got crying in the background or
And,
noise.
well, you just can't have noise because they're sleeping. It's like, okay, quiet. But you get so much more. Like if the subtitles are timed wrong, then it's a little like, okay, well, now that scene is kind of a wash. But I love subtitles on everything.
I used to hate it because it's covering up some of the framing and all that. But Nadia got me hooked to it, especially with movies I've previously seen. I'm actually,
you miss things, right?
it's like, oh, that's what she said. She said it in such a haste, or and it's like, oh, okay, that's what she meant by that. I don't like necessarily watching movies I have never seen before. I like to observe it how it's meant to be shown. But movies that I may have watched in the past and I wanted to actually examine it more, I definitely, I'm all for sub-fucking titles.
Yeah, it's like reading and hearing are using different parts of your brain. So you're also receiving new information that you would have heard but maybe not have absorbed or fully understood.
Yeah. And with accents or change in language and all those things, you're right. Like I've been like, wow, that's what was said in a movie from 10 years ago that now changes my whole perspective in the scene.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
It's like singing a song wrong, right? And then someone corrects you on it, and then you find out that the whole change, like that one line in the chorus, makes the song completely fucking different.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I guess we all haven't seen Parasite. It's now being turned into a TV show.
What?
I think Amazon's gonna option it for a TV show.
It's essentially about like it's
about a family that moves in.
Poking fun at the class system, right?
Yes, very much so. It's about a family that takes advantage of another family. And I guess you could say it kind of has a little bit of the Talented Mr. Ripley in it, like class jealousy and.
I'm also kind of getting a crazy rich Asian vibe to me. So when this was first brought to me, I was like, they fucking made this movie just like 2 years ago, didn't they? Or was it a book? And then I started looking into more. I'm like, oh fuck, okay, this is.
Is it not a sci-fi movie? I
It's
thought it was a sci-fi movie.
It's a thriller.
I thought it was like
no. It blends.
It's like
it blends genres.
It's
and I'm
a
like,
3-genre film for sure.
I like blending genres.
oh yeah, it's a. I guess Tarantino definitely blends genres, but he makes it more evident. But apparently, this one does it very subtly, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I was so disappointed in Cowboys versus Aliens. There was so much potential there. I was so excited for that movie.
Are you serious?
I was so excited. Oh, come on. John Favreau directing. It's got
Daniel Craig
and Harrison Ford, and there's fucking cowboys fighting aliens. I was like, oh my God.
Did you go to the theater where you're like,
yeah, I was like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Oh, okay.
Oh God, I have to admit, I've never seen the whole movie. I've seen parts of it, and I was just like, actually, is can we talk?
It's not really a genre. I guess it doesn't really bend genres. But.
Can we talk about Daniel Craig's character? Was he an alien to begin with, or
no? He's a human, but he got abducted by aliens and lost his memory, and his family got taken away. And but there were aliens, other types of aliens. That was Olivia Wilde. She was another type of alien.
Oh,
that's right. She was in it.
Where is Olivia Wilde? I miss her.
She directed. She's directed stuff.
Yeah.
I miss her face.
That's really, you know what? Like, I'm noticing that there's a lot of actors who went to school to be directors, and they kind of had to get their foot in the door, like the Bradley Coopers, Olivia Wilde's. Like, you have to get your foot in the door as an actor, and then all of a sudden you find out that like
was that their planned career path?
I don't know.
And
It's also
they fell into acting by accident, trying to direct,
or maybe vice
who
versa.
becomes a superstar.
You know what?
trying-
Can we bring up gender in here? This is
Yeah.
and this is like a whole different conversation. But going back to human nature, like women have that maternal instinct, right? I'm pretty sure maybe why she stepped back was probably she wanted to focus on her kids and maybe motherhood.
Does she have kids?
I believe so. With what was that comedian?
Jason Sudeikis. She
Yeah.
does have a
Oh,
kid. She was
yeah.
pregnant.
So
That could be another thing too. Yeah.
that could be put in play. Obviously some males do the same thing. They want to like I'm fucking positive.
Have you ever directed a movie? I think going the other way might be more work after, like, if she went from being an actor to a director.
Yeah.
That's probably more work now being a mother than if you were just the actor.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's her.
Like, now she's got to marshal 100+ people all day long, and
No, she doesn't.
No,
Directors don't do that.
really, who does
Ooh.
ADs do that.
that? Okay,
Director just shows up, sits behind the monitor,
What do you work in movies or something, Steve?
waits to hear the roles.
he knows the
called.
hierarchy. We're all just laymen's over here, man.
On set, they don't have to marshel.
So
They'll give
so
instructions, but
ADs get
ADs.
the instructions from the Ds.
yeah, if you ever watch stuff that's like a movie, like you're watching a movie being made, the guy like yelling and shouting and directing people, that's the first AD.
Okay,
The director's wearing a headset behind a monitor,
waiting for the
talking
first
to
AD
the
to do his
producer,
job.
going blah blah blah, waiting to be told that they're set, like the scene is set and ready to go. Because the AD's job is to organize that 100 to 200 people and all those different cogs, so that it's ready and he can deliver it to the director and go boom.
See, I
rolling.
I kind of thought that when I because I've been researching the different titles of everybody on set, because I was like, well, I don't even know what half of these are sometimes. So I was like,
No, your first AD is like the actual boss on set. Like even director. I mean, different directors and ADs will have different
different
approaches.
styles.
Maybe
Yeah.
a manager, managing, leading.
Sure, your director. They're the ones that are actually like a director will be like, okay, what am I like on my sets? The director turns to me, okay, what are we doing next?
okay,
Okay,
so-
well, you're doing this now. Oh, okay.
I actually saw that firsthand. I don't know if I told my story about my encounter with Sean Penn.
no, you can.
Uh,
Hey, you just dropped a name there. You want to pick it up?
I was gonna.
I don't remember the last time I was here, but I do remember the last time I was here. There was a Sean Penn story.
Was there?
Oh shit! I'm treading familiar territory. No, and when he said you dropped something, and I was like, I dropped something. I was about to look in my pocket.
I really want to take
my head
credit.
my head is somewhere else today. South America, South Africa. Fuck.
No, I know. I know. I have your Sean Penn story on recording.
Oh, you actually do.
I do. Yeah.
Anyways, I like the nose rocket. He just launched.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
onto the
That's
ground.
exactly the one I
Correct.
have on tape.
The point I was making to the AD and all that, it was right after he blew his snot rocket. He went to the AD and it was just like boom, boom, boom. It was just like body language, and it was like this. They're just like
I want this. I want this. I want
hammering
this, I want
shit
this, I
out.
want this.
It sounded like he was leaning hard on his AD. Anyways,
Well, especially because he's acting in it as well. So
Yeah,
the AD
yeah.
actually probably has to do a lot more than he would normally. So the director goes like when you get to set, especially on those bigger movies, a lot of the work's actually already been done. All the decisions have kind of already made. It's all just kind of fine tuning at this point, because you can't really change that much once 200 people have done their job. There's not much you could change.
Yeah,
and
once the
tweak.
machine's in motion.
So the director will, they'll talk to the cast, they'll talk to the DP, organize with the DP what they're going to do, and then the assistant director is always there, just on full record, constantly just like picking every. So if the director and the DP are talking, like, oh yeah, well actually we just need the car, should probably go there. Your AD who's right behind them is already on the radio going, move that car,
Move that car. All right, there's a couple more things I want to get into before we get out of here. This new thing of being part of the old guard and shitting on the new blockbusters. Scorsese started it, right? We all heard Scorsese's rant at the end of the year last year about how Marvel's overtaking cinema. Tarantino.
I'm sure he said it, didn't say it like that.
Yeah,
He said,
I'm paraphrasing here. Okay.
It was actually an essay for like the New Yorker. Or
Yeah,
something.
it was a full page
It was like
op-ed.
a written, well thought out. He wasn't really saying it was bad,
but
just saying it wasn't.
It's just a different style of film. It's not the kind of movie that he makes. Quentin Tarantino is now jumping on the bandwagon saying it's all about blockbusters for pop culture movies, and it's not about movies that are ingrained in the fabric of our society that are pulled from. It's just these big over-the-top stories. Are we exhausted from seeing that? Do we need to shift back into seeing more story-based movies, less superhero, less over-the-top? Like, I watched Six Underground the other night. I had to turn it off. I was like, there's so much unrealistic bullshit in this movie. And I'm fairly convinced that Michael Bay just likes to, like, he's got a kink for blowing shit up.
What's it called? Sorry?
Six Underground. It's Ryan Reynolds' new Netflix film that he did with Michael Bay. It's about six different people on a team of agents trying to take out a warlord.
Your first mistake was clicking on a movie that featured Michael Bay in the title.
I'm not against watching a good popcorn movie, but what I'm saying is that it's true. I've noticed that my tastes, at one point I was into stories, I was into ideas, I was into movies that were not all over TV, that didn't have big marketing campaigns, that you had to search for, like the 2 copies in Blockbuster. Remember those days where like there was only 2 copies of that movie and then like 5 walls dedicated to the newest movie? Now I'm the 5 wall guy. So I'm wondering if these guys maybe have a point. Yes, they're crotchety and they're old and they're from the old guard. What do you guys think? Like, do you think that there should be more storytelling and less, like, everything has got to be a big $1 billion hit? You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It only has to be that because they've spent that much money on making it.
Okay, so but isn't the magic of film and Hollywood about doing as much as you can for as little as you can, as opposed to throwing as much money? Like, it's like the Yankees. The Yankees can buy anybody they want because they've got the fucking money. Okay. The Red Sox can buy anybody they want.
Were they speaking on behalf of themselves? Because you drop your name, I'm Scorsese, I'm Tarantino. They can move worlds with their names and their reputation. Or were they speaking directly for younger directors and producers and actors?
No, they're speaking from their opinion of cinema today. I've read the articles, but I don't have them memorized. But the paraphrase, or the short version, I should say, is that both of them are not anti, but just making a statement that sounds like crotchety old man, but really is about the shape of Hollywood and the films that are coming out now.
Coming from them, I have to agree with them, but there's, like, you don't have to watch blockbusters. You can just watch your, there's choices out there, and there's different formats and platforms to actually watch these, more so than 15, 20 years ago, where you had to watch a movie when it came on TV. You had to watch it censored, or you had to go to your local
3
radio
hours
stars
instead of 2 hours because of commercial.
Exactly. Now it's just I think there's more selections now than ever. So I don't really know what they're saying.
There isn't. There is more selection, but like we still, because of marketing and money, we're only shown a small amount of it. Because I remember in the early 2000s. There was this sort of renaissance of those small indie movies that was all character-based.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And, like, I probably put the Globe's owner's kid through college by going to the Globe Cinema in Portage Place, constantly seeing these little movies. And those little movies, I can't find them. I have Netflix and Crave.
Yeah, like these really thought-out passion pieces are not in the theaters anymore, because the theater game is make $1 billion. Like that's your you have 2 days to put yourself on the map. Then you want to make $1 billion, and then you're competing with such big studios that maybe the market is too saturated with these. As great as they are, they have their place. There's nothing wrong with them. But the real storytelling, like Green Book, for example, okay, that's a good story, not a major blockbuster. Not like Little Miss Sunshine, right? These quirky movies that have a real awkward good feel to them don't necessarily make it anymore in the theater. They get recognized at the awards because you find out about them and you're like, I had no idea they made this, right? For best foreign or best short or best independent. But the theater is packed with nothing but blockbusters.
Like, you're never gonna get your Paranormal Activity You're never gonna get your Blair Witch. You're never gonna get your Napoleon Dynamite. I guess I see your point.
In the theater anymore.
In the theater, and then it becoming profitable, and it's losing its credibility over time because they tend to fucking leech off the success of that, and the whole original movie is, it's anyways, that's a whole different point when I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know. Speaking as a Winnipegger, I wish there was more independent theaters like the Globe or Cinematheque, where the
Cinematheque is the only one that's really left that shows art house, right? Or as my favorite word on the podcast, avant-garde.
Avant-garde.
I've misused that word 3 times. I think I nailed it today.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, what do you think? Like, should there do you need the movie theater that shows those movies to exist, or do you need the desire from the studios to put those movies into the theater? Like, how do you chicken egg? Like, what do you do first to get a place for those movies?
I don't know.
You don't have to fix the problem today.
Figure it out, Steve.
You need studios and financiers to pay for them, because those small movies can't compete. Their marketing budget is tiny compared to like if Endgame costs $150 million to make or whatever, their marketing budget was at least $150 million.
Yeah,
just to make sure you go and see it. Now, the movie that was made for $2 million, well, its marketing budget was probably $50K. So you're never going to see it. You're never going to know it existed.
So I guess it's on.
What you need is these big studios, and they're not going to. But you need a big, if you want to shift, then you take that $150 million and you make $10, $15 million movies instead.
Okay,
and
so
that way you have all this, because you have this $150 million movie. That's one director only, that's one DP only, that's one crew only, and that's one cast only working. You have $10, $15 million movies where the stakes are way lower on getting their return back. You now have 15 directors, 15 DPs, 15 crews, 15 cast that are all out there developing their craft, getting made, being seen, and producing hopefully something that is good.
Okay, so it's about using your budget to the best of your ability for an idea, for a change in it.
Yeah,
I guess. Okay. All right. James Bond has been confirmed by Barbara Broccoli. That's my segue.
Barbara Broccoli.
Barbara Broccoli.
That's a great fucking name.
That's the daughter of the man who made the entire series himself. She's confirmed that they will never. And I want to preface this by saying that I'm happy, but I will explain my stance on it, and I think you guys will agree with me. But she has said that James Bond will always be a man and never be a woman. And she was quoted saying that there are far more interesting roles for women to play than James Bond. I'm happy for this, but it's only because it's got nothing to do with the fact that a woman couldn't play James Bond. I think she could. I mean, they played with Moneypenny potentially coming in within a couple movies, right? They did it with Casino Royale. Yeah. Quantum of Solace was there. But then there's always that big talk at the end of the James Bond series. Like every 5 to 10 years, everybody on the planet's like, don't let James Bond be a woman. How dare you let James Bond be a woman? Well, what is James Bond? James Bond is a womanizing, alcoholic prick with a gun.
You take that away, what do you got? Not a James Bond.
You don't have a James Bond.
Sorry.
So you have to find a woman who wants to play that role. That's not an interesting role. Today in Hollywood, that's not a role that your arrogant, ignorant, sexist fans of James Bond are going to put up with, right? Like you saw it, we saw it happen with the Doctor Who. When they cast Doctor Who as a woman, there was this huge outcry of like, how dare you? And it's like, fuck you. It's Doctor Who. That doesn't matter. Like it can be anybody. And at the end of the day, James Bond is a code name. It's not a human being, right? It's just a male code name. You could have Jane Bond, for example, right? But I guess what I'm getting at here is that I think we all agree that women need to have roles made for them to showcase their abilities instead of taking movies that have already existed and trying to insert a female aspect to it. I'm treading lightly here. I am a firm believer that women need to be in Hollywood as directors and producers and have a say in the entire industry. But I think going after roles that are predominantly played by men isn't the right way to do it.
Well, that's where Ghostbusters failed of
Fan backlash.
Fan backlash, and let's be honest, the original Ghostbusters is a near perfect movie. Not like that cast. I love that cast. I love everyone in the movie, but they made garbage as well. But it worked.
The synergy between them
It just worked, and they try to replicate that.
Yeah, lightning in a bottle.
They try to replicate that with female leads and all that, just to have those characters like the heart of the Ghostbusters, the soul of the Ghostbusters, the brain. It's just trying to fit.
Square peg, round hole.
A square peg, round hole, and it blew up in their faces, and they failed. Now,
that's not to say that, like...
No. To my point, what I'm saying is that it's how they could have easily done that, Ghostbusters, but they failed. I think all those ladies were absolutely hilarious, but it was just how it was garbage.
It was a studio who's afraid that they don't make enough female-dominated pictures, taking something that's easily swallowable and then inserting female roles into it, which is a shame for the women because they don't get to stand on their own with an original story. They don't get to stand on their own with any merit. It's just copying something that...
Let's just not have the solution. Just remove the males and put in the females. Just create their own sort of franchise with female leads. Now, I don't have an issue with a woman playing James Bond, but I know damn well what they'll do with it. It will be it would be like she'll be doing the whole line of like she wouldn't order a martini. She'll be like, "Give me a beer, give me a Guinness," and it'd be like, it's just like.
And it's in my mind.
Who are you trying to prove this to? Like I know what they're going to do with that role, right? And it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't work. And besides, didn't they already kind of have these spy movies with powerful female leads?
And they're great.
Like Salt,
Atomic
and all
Blonde,
that?
Salt.
That's
fucking great.
That's fucking James Bond right there. That's a James Bond spy. That's your fucking what's his fucking name? Matt Damon. Matt Damon. From what's a movie called? What's this?
Born
Identity. Born Identity.
He'll get it. Steve, what do you think of this whole thing? Like,
I don't know.
Well, as a man, I think.
Mansplain this for us, please.
Yeah. Listen up. No, I have no idea. I don't care.
Right?
I love James Bond, and I was a huge fan of James Bond movies. I didn't finish the trailer of this new one.
It's like okay.
Okay.
It's
okay.
not.
You had me at the 1964 Aston Martin.
Right.
I will see it.
There's the machine gun.
Yeah.
Case in point, I don't have an issue with it, but I know they're gonna fuck it up, and they always fuck.
But it's the studio that's gonna fuck it up
exactly.
Because it's on them to. It's like. If you just sat down for a minute.
Sorry.
That's fine.
No, you know what? Make it a girl. See what happens. Make it a person of minority.
Idris Elba.
It's Britain in the 2020s. It's a multicultural country.
It is.
Anyone can be James
Elba
Bond.
would
Just
have.
do it.
I was so hoping for that.
Why? I'm not against it being a woman, but if you're going to make it a woman, you've got a lot of character aspects to James Bond that you have to portray if you want your fan base to. You don't.
Wait, you make a Casino Royale version that starts off with a woman, so you can set all these. You have all the same tropes, right? You need the gadgets in the car and the action sequences.
You can do it, but I don't want a dainty, manner-filled lady. I want someone who's broody. I want someone who's tough. And I'm afraid the studio wouldn't do that because they would be afraid to do that. And it can totally be played by a woman, but they would fuck it up because they'd be so afraid to not do it right that they would just...
You know what? if they played it up like Sean Connery's James Bond, a womanizing drunkard,
it has to be all those things, but a man-eater.
But if she did it to the extreme, that'd be fucking awesome. But they would do that because they're gonna say, "Oh, James Bond, she's a slut."
Fan
backlash, and unfortunately, there's gonna be that backlash. I myself, I'll fucking love it.
I would love
if it was done that way,
because I'm about the character. I'm not about who can play the character. I'm about the I'm a purist is the easiest way to say it. So give me a woman that can play it. I will champion it. I will stand behind it, but don't shortchange me on changing it so that it fits a woman's narrative that you don't even know, because it's a bunch of white male studio heads who are like, this is what women should be, right? It's like politicians who are arguing over abortion. How dare you argue over what a woman can do with her body? How dare you? Fuck.
Imagine it. If that actually it was greenlit, it would have to be a woman director and a woman producer. Like it would have all this. It would be like,
just do it. Don't make a big deal about it. Just do it.
You know, honestly, into this, and I always refer back to this movie. You know, the perfect strong female lead. Do you know what movie did it perfectly without fucking hitting your cock over your face and it's like, here, are you happy now? Was fucking Alien.
I was gonna say,
yes,
get away
fucking
from her, you
Alien. Well, no, the first Alien, Tom Skerritt, the hero, right? The only established actor. Well, there was the other guy, Kodo,
Ian Holm,
Harry Dean Stanton,
but
not like stars.
But she ran that fucking show.
So it was Tom Skerritt. He's the captain of the ship and all that, and he fucking gets. Oh, my favorite scene in the movie. I fucking love that movie. He gets fucking killed. And he was like probably the second or third person on that crew to die.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, this movie is like, okay, I don't know if it was Ridley Scott's initiative to have like, strong female lead. However they went about it, it wasn't in your face. And you
just do it.
And I went along with it. And I'm like, yes, I believe it's, she fucking ran that ship, but it was done organically to fit the narrative of the story, and it wasn't like shoehorned in like a fucking product placement. It was just do it that way, you know?
Well, yeah, because now
do it that way.
And the shitty thing is that it's been this way for so long, right? It's been controlled by men. It's been controlled by powerful men, nonetheless. So yeah, once change happens, it does look like it's in your face. But if you just did it and then like accented the fact that like not plastered it, but just let everybody know that you put a female director in the chair because you believe in it, right? You don't even have to argue it. You just believe in it. Just do it. Wake up one day and start doing it, and people will notice it. But don't advertise it that you're doing it, because then it takes the sincerity away of making change happen. You know?
Welcome to 2020. Actually, welcome to that.
Welcome to Triggered 2020.
Welcome to the past 10 years. To be honest with you, it's everything's under a microscope. I don't know. I wish I can go back to be like, can we just be ignorant about it and this sort of
we need to take away social media to be ignorant.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
I don't know.
Steve, who's your favorite James Bond actor?
Well, I guess it's Sean Connery.
Is it Sean Connery? Okay, go in order. Sean Connery, then who?
Oh, I guess Pierce Brosnan.
Ooh, not Roger Moore?
No, I really like GoldenEye.
GoldenEye
is a great movie for what it was. This sort of like pick you back up. This is where we are. New World Order. Shit.
Yes, definitely. And he had a great 6 movies did he get? Brosnan? I think he had 6 somewhere in between.
I don't know. Aaron's the
James Bond. What's your top 2? Sean Connery?
Not top 3.
You can have whatever you'd like.
Okay, I changed my opinion. Actually, right now, I think Timothy Dalton was number 1.
Fuck off.
No. Again, every single actor, well, besides Roger Moore, he kind of sucked. Actually, no, I like Roger Moore. He's fucking cheeky, and his movies suck. But every single actor I like who played James Bond, but as James Bond, obviously Sean Connery, number one. Number one is in a long shot, but I think number 2 would be. And I'm probably going to lean on his movies because I like what he's putting out. Would be Daniel Craig.
Okay.
Pierce Brosnan. I'm sorry. Aside from GoldenEye, I think his movies stunk just as bad as Roger Moore's.
Tomorrow Never Dies. Not a big deal for you, no?
It sucked. I'm
really?
sorry. I like GoldenEye. That's about it.
Well, everybody likes the movie that launches the character, right?
No,
Like,
but it's a good movie.
it is. It is, but
I
it's
like
easy
Pierce.
to like it because it is the new Pierce Brosnan movie. It's easy to like the new Daniel Craig movie.
Okay, Steve, what's that movie? I know we saw it together. What's that movie that Pierce Brosnan played, and he played like a...
Taylor of Panama.
No. Shit, you're really throwing me off here. He plays like a James Bond type of character, but he's like a drunk.
The Taylor of Panama.
No.
It's the Taylor of Panama.
Gregory Rush is in it.
Great, yeah.
No,
Taylor of Panama.
it was a
It's
comedy.
all about
Jamie
the
Lee
sale of the
Curtis.
Panama Canal.
I'm not talking about that fucking movie. I'm talking about this movie I really want to know now.
All right, hang on. I'll go to the net. You keep talking.
Okay, like
The
He Befriends...
the Matador
Yes.
The Matador. Okay.
Yes.
and the Taylor of Panama.
And the Taylor of Panama.
Was that a good movie?
I like Taylor of Panama.
Taylor of Panama's great.
But Matador and Taylor of Panama, he both played spy-esque guys who are kind of either Matador, right? He was kind of like having PTSD type stuff with it.
Yeah.
And Taylor of Panama, he's just washed up, and but he was a womanizing spy.
Very much, yeah. So again, they just can't break that role.
He just took his type and inverted it.
No, I think I've had discussions with you, Steve, on Skyfall. I love Skyfall, but the
Skyfall.
but the motivation of the main antagonist was like,
I don't get how he can do all that stuff.
But
Like time a train, getting blown
Yeah.
up, and
But
getting
it's-
arrested at the right time so he can shoot up a courtroom.
but it's a fucking James Bond movie.
Sure,
You are required to suspend much, if not all, of your disbelief
Yeah.
while watching a James Bond.
I
movie.
really like Skyfall a lot.
Okay, so Sean Connery, Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan. Is that your fun? Is that your top
Oh
three?
fuck. But I do like.
George Lazenby,
No.
Timothy Dalton,
I like. See, I kind of like License to Kill or whatever. What's the one
Living
with like
Daylights.
Living? I kind of like. I like all those movies, and I even like. I fucking love. What's that? I hate Moonraker. What's the one? The Spy Who Loved Me. I think it's one of the better James Bond movies and all that. And Live and Let Die, a killer theme song, and I didn't mind the movie, but it took it to be like, oh, this is completely corny. But and I like Roger Moore. I don't know.
That's fine. It's all
I'm
preference, man.
conflicted. But I do know it's Daniel Craig is number 2, number 1 by a fucking mile is Sean Connery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about you?
Sean Connery, number 1. Thunderball. What else was there? Goldmember. Sorry,
Gold member.
I knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this all
I
week.
love
I'm like, I'm gonna drop an Austin Powers reference.
Oh, it's so tasty. So
smoking a pancake,
Savvy
bong hit in a crepe.
Gold
Bong
finger.
Bong niblets.
Like Sean Connery was my first. Roger
was?
Moore.
Oh.
He was. Yeah, my
He was
mom
your
and-
first?
He was
Oh,
my
wow.
first. Yeah, he was.
You and
gentle.
many others.
Yeah, he wined me with a he martini'd me. And,
I think the real Sean Connery would probably just be all brute force.
Oh, totally. I don't think he'd take his time.
No.
Yeah. I mean, the
I
guy.
don't have time for the shit. Get undressed.
The guy went on record in Playboy saying it's okay to hit your wife, and I'm like, I don't know how the fuck he had a career after
It was just
that.
like, she hits me.
Because
I
it was
hit her back.
1977.
Exactly. There was
Probably. I
yeah.
don't know.
So yeah, Sean Connery, Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan. That's my
Sorry,
order.
say that again.
Sean.
I forget we're
Sean
doing
Connery.
Sean
sometimes I forget we're doing a podcast here.
It's fine. You're supposed to. Sean Connery, Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan.
Okay.
Yeah. And Casino Royale, just because it was
Yeah,
a
it's a very
genius
good movie.
It's a very good movie, and it was a very good way to reboot the series by taking the worst made James Bond, redoing it properly, and essentially using the first 15 minutes of the film to show that he had just become a 00 agent, right? Like you got to have 2 kills under your belt, and he's in the room with that one guy, and no bullets in the gun, and it's all black and white. Like that whole aspect to going from black and white to color, I thought was really cool too.
Yeah, that was
like
cool.
it was like a nod to the old and going to the new.
Who
and
directed that one?
The Canadian guy
the Canadian guy.
who did Due South. He did Crash. He did the Black Donnellys
I'll find
TV
it.
show.
Casino Royale.
Olivia Wilde's in like all his shit.
He directed that?
Well, he may have wrote it. I don't know who directed it.
I can
Oh,
tell you
okay.
Or maybe he did write it.
Martin Campbell.
Yeah, no, he wrote it then.
Oh.
Who wrote it?
Vertical Limit, GoldenEye,
No, but
Mask of Zorro.
who's the guy's name who wrote it?
Oh, I'll tell you right now. So, Neil Purvis.
Neil Peart,
No.
Neil Purvis and Robert Wade. Screenplay.
What?
drummer for
There's 4 people
for Rush?
credited. Hang on. No. Paul Haggis.
Paul Haggis.
There you go. That's who you thought it was.
I just love Due South.
So, Crash in the
Due South
Valley.
was my shit growing up.
Due South was the shit. It totally was.
I'm going due
South.
south. That's the way I'm headed. Due.
Favorite James Bond movie, Aaron, out of them all?
I think we talked in circles with this. And
So, is it Skyfall?
And I try to convince myself maybe there's a better one, but I always go back to Goldfinger, and it goes back to my cozy childhood of watching with my dad and him watching in theater in '64, and that rubbed off on me. And it's Sean Connery at his best, the greatest villain,
Young,
the
full
greatest
head of hair.
a silly motive,
Yeah.
just that like the alignment of the time and that character and the self, it knew what it was,
and it wasn't trying to be anything else?
Yeah,
His
it
run
just,
was very, it was like, these are the movies we're making. They're silly. They're over the
but,
top.
But the thing is, it was just like it was ramping up to that in Thunderbolt. Like the first Dr. No was okay. It's pretty good. Wrestle with Love, fucking killer movie. And then Goldfinger is like, and then Thunderbolt was slightly. I think Wrestle with Love is better than Thunderbolt. But anyways, what I'm saying is like they peaked to me. Definitely Connery peaked with Goldfinger. I can't say for the entire series, but for me, I think it holds up for the greatest Bond movie and the greatest Sean Connery, James Bond movie for sure. How about yourself?
Thunderball, just because of the sharks.
Yeah,
Swimming underwater, scuba suits, like that.
fuck. Who is the villain again? No, a Largo or something.
Yeah, fuck.
Largo?
Wasn't it? It was in the Caribbean. I know that. Yeah. Steve, you got a favorite that sticks out?
Dr. No.
Dr. No, yes.
First one.
Before we go, I got one final question. I wanted to save this for the end. Who do we think out of the crop of young actors, male or female, doesn't matter, that's going to have that De Niro, Pacino status in 20 years? Like, who's killing it now that we're going to be like, yep, they're just going to be infamous. They're like DiCaprio's now in his mid 40s or almost 50, and like he's cemented himself. So who are we thinking?
I've 2. I gotta look up one guy's name though.
Yeah,
'cause
go
he
ahead.
plays those actors. The first one's Adam Driver.
Yes, a lot of people are saying Adam Driver's got the chops.
My phone just froze. Oh, there we go. And man, it's horrible because I don't know his name, but he's in so much shit. He's in Get Out, but he's the guy that first gets kidnapped. That actually says Get Out.
Where the real self comes out.
Yeah, for a second, I can't.
I know
even-
who you're talking
My
about.
phone just died on me.
Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah, he's in everything,
He
man.
is
and
now.
and you don't even recognize him.
What's he? Sorry. Like what's he's done?
Okay.
He's gonna read the credits.
Sorry to bother you, which is like
But
the
he's
alternate
always a
universe.
supporting character, but he's
Yes.
always just like a chameleon, like boom.
He's in Selma, Death Note, he voices in BoJack Horseman, Knives Out, Uncut Gems, okay, The Girl in the Spider Web, which is one of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo books, Random Acts, Come Sunday, Atlanta. He's one of the main characters in. Like, he's really a big up and comer. Like, he's gonna be all over the shit. Did you see Knives Out, Aaron?
Oh, actually, I like Knives Out.
He was the one of the 2 detectives, the African American detective.
Oh, fuck. I'm confusing him. Who plays the Falcon in Avengers?
It's not the Falcon.
It's not.
No.
Okay. I'm confusing him with that.
I know who you're talking about. Anthony Mackie is who you think.
Yeah, he's good. I like
Anthony
him.
Mackie?
I don't know. Yeah. It ends with Mackie.
No, I think Anthony Mackie's somebody else. I know it's Anthony though. Hang on here. I'll tell you. I can't let that one sit. Avengers.
Did you see Knives Out, Steve?
No, and I know it. The trailer didn't make it look good to me, and then it got all these rave reviews. Then my my mom saw it, and she hated it. And like my mom doesn't really we don't really talk movies a lot, but she was like making all the like, do not see it. It's just
Really?
this stupid monologue for the whole thing. Don't even. Daniel Craig has this dumb accent, and all he does is talk, and you just don't want him to talk anymore. By that, I was like, oh, she was like, she would disown me if I was to see it. I think.
But everybody, like, it made $200 million. I think it
I'll be
cost $30 million.
Oh,
to
also
make.
Ryan Johnson. This is
Ryan
kind of his
Johnson.
comeback.
And that's where he like, that's his shit. That's his lane.
I'll be honest. The trailer sucked, and
It did.
I honestly didn't want to watch the movie, and my girlfriend.
And you told me you enjoyed it.
I went essentially I went in with no expectations, and I ended up like that was pretty good. I kind of like those murder mystery Clue type of stories with multiple characters and like plot twists and blah blah blah. Steve, I give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Okay.
We started watching it, then something got in the way, and we just stopped. But it is Anthony Mackie. I was right. Anthony Mackie plays Falcon in Avengers.
Okay.
Well, the rest of the guys have taught me that I need to double check myself, and now that I have, I'm like right for once. Steve, who do you? Sorry, we already got you. Aaron, who do you think is going to be a fucking killer in 20 years?
This is off the cuff.
Yeah.
In 20 years?
Well, not 20. In the next, like, let's say 10. 10's a long time for your career. You can get a lot of. But who's going to have that staying power that's going to be in Hollywood royalty?
It's probably not going to happen. But I don't know if it's going to happen anymore. But I had high hopes for this guy. What's his name? Oscar Isaac.
Oh,
yeah.
I
like Oscar Isaac.
I really liked him. I saw him in what's that fucking the Driver movie? Driver, is it?
Yep.
That's where I first noticed him, because he did this great thing where he's threatening but not threatening Ryan Gosling.
It's like
thank you so much for taking care of my wife and kid while I've been away.
Yes,
so you know my wife.
Yeah, it's such a great scene. Like,
you're a good neighbor.
You know what I mean.
You're a good neighbor.
Yeah.
And
he's smiling the whole way through, but it's like, oh yeah,
no. It was that moment. It was like, yes.
Yeah, I remember that. I love that movie for a million different reasons, and I love that scene.
Yeah, that movie's a fucking great movie. Oscar Isaac, the Star Wars thing is sort of putting a stop to that, I think, with fucking shitty dialogue and all that. But I still have hope for him.
He's great in Ex Machina.
Ex Machina would be another one. I think he's got.
Is it Machina? Have we confirmed that? Because I always called it Machina.
Well, Deus Ex Machina is the term.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then all right,
saved from God or whatever.
all right.
Or God in the machine. Or
Annihilation. Even though he had like a bit part in Annihilation, he was the soldier who came back across that really weird force field that they were all trapped in.
Also, he kind of reminds me of Pacino. Like, he just talking about like those people those legendary status. He just has he's got the Pacino features and all that. What's another actor?
No, just one. That's fine.
I really just have him. Actually, you know what? Like
Okay, too.
You were talking about Get Out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who was
the TSA agent?
Us, the father in Us.
I know who you're talking about. I'll bring it up. Is it
I haven't
Winston
seen Us.
Duke? I think his name is Winston
I know.
Duke.
I'm a horrible person.
I liked him. Maybe it was his character, but I he. I don't know. He kind of reminded me of Jordan Peele.
Yeah, no, it's Winston Duke. It's actually the guy who played in Black Panther. He was the guys who ride the rhinos. Do you remember? They like disowned Black Panther, and then they came back at the end to help him fight. They were also in Endgame.
He was he was the
Duke,
leader.
Yeah, he was the leader of that clan. So Duke, Duke Winston Duke is his
Winston
name.
Duke.
Yeah, M'Baku is who he was in Black Panther. and
Okay.
Endgame. Yeah.
No, I liked him in Us. Actually, I liked Us.
Us was a surprisingly
it was
good movie. Yeah, I fell asleep and then had to check online how it ended, but I was like, "That's crazy!" Alternate universe.
Kind of
Spoiler
lost
alert.
me toward the end, but like I cared about that family, and I the whole movie I was on the edge of my seat. I was just like, it was good.
Yeah, no, it really fucked with you.
I have a few more actors in my head, but I just can't think of their names.
That's okay.
I have high hopes for quite a bit of actors. So.
I have my pick's Taron Egerton. Eggsy from most recently Elton John from Rocket Man. I think that whole performance he's got a toolbox of skills that is going to take him very, very far. like going from really not being like nothing really to hang on, what's
Oh, sorry. I was thinking Tom Hardy.
yeah, no, not Tom Hardy.
No. That would be my third.
Oh. It's like they're both from the UK, but I mean,
Sorry. I was just trying to think of his name, and I was just like, yeah.
like he's done some stuff. Like he was in Legend, Eddie the Eagle. He was in the Robin Hood remake, which I mean, everybody's got to do a studio picture, one for art, one for commerce. But Kingsman is really where he blasted. But then doing Rocket Man, he got a Globe for Rocket Man. He sang in the movie. So anybody who sings in a movie, I feel has seriously good acting chops, because that's stepping out. That's patting your head and rubbing your tummy on camera to me, right? Because you were trained to be an actor. Now you're learning how to do a skill that takes just as much time or more to be an actor, and you're condensing that for a role. So that to me is
I'm pretty biased when it comes to bios, especially with musicians. I fucking hate them all.
Well, everybody always has something to say, because there's a lot of people out there who may have been on tour or were part of the record company or whatever that know the real story. And then there's the version that gets to camera. And I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody first came under fire for the fact that Sacha Baron Cohen wanted a really racy, edgy version of the story. And Queen wanted to protect his legacy and not make it all about Freddie Mercury being gay. It's about a band. It's not about the gay member of the band, right?
Yeah.
As much as that has a huge impact on the career, that's not the way it was supposed to go.
Definitely
So
the music as well, right? Actually, I think if it just focused on Freddie Mercury alone, how to protect his image and
like there's a huge story there, but it's
there's a story right there. Fuck the music. I really hate Queen, by the way.
That's fine.
I hate the music. But talented musicians, but whatever. We can talk about music another day. I have my opinions. But I think Freddie Mercury, a Freddie Mercury story would have been better.
Sure.
I couldn't sit through that whole movie. It was terrible. I hated it.
I mean it felt rushed. It felt like printed and packaged and get off the line as soon as possible.
Shit! I just thought of the actor who played Mr. Robot.
Rami Malek.
He's
Rami.
He'd be 4 on my list.
Number four on your list?
I like him.
Well, we'll see what he does in No Time to Die. I mean, he's the Bond villain.
Yeah.
So,
We didn't pick any actresses.
no, we didn't.
Oh,
We're
fuck.
horrible.
Yeah, well, thank you for segueing. No, that's fine. Steve, do you have my questions?
Oh no, I don't. But I was thinking about it, and although I haven't seen much with any of these two, but Jessica Chastain I thought was always really great.
Yes, she
especially in
is.
Zero Dark 30,
Yeah.
and Ellie Fanning.
Yeah,
But I haven't seen her in forever.
yes, no. What? She was in something recently.
She's like
Once upon
Super
a time,
eight.
once
Yeah.
upon a time in Hollywood. No, I'm thinking of Dakota Fanning.
You're thinking, yeah.
Yeah, never mind. She played Squeaky in the as one of the disciples in Madison.
Jennifer Lawrence is my pick. And it's only because she's proven herself. Like Silver Linings Playbook, Hunger Games. She's got range. She's got even stuff like Red Sparrow, the Russian ballerina spy movie, which Steve realized when we watched that one trailer. Was that? No, I don't think it was you.
We watched Black Widow trailer.
Yes,
And it was just Red Scarlet with
Red Sparrow
Red
dubbed
Sparrow,
over.
yeah.
That's all it was. Like someone made
it
a
was
fan
Red
trailer.
Sparrow and Bourne
Yes,
Oh,
mixed
okay.
together
But-
with some offcuts of I don't know.
I can't wait to see Jennifer Lawrence get. And I didn't see. Did you guys see Mother? Did
No.
anybody? No.
Yeah. I went on a date. It was a first date to see that movie.
That's the worst movie to see.
Oh, yeah.
Never go
I
on a
tried
date
talking
to a
her out.
movie.
I tried talking her out of it. I think she had a whole different perspective of what it was going to be about, and yeah,
Didn't that movie combined with not knowing somebody?
yeah.
I went on a first date once to go see Closer, which is a movie all about infidelity. For a first, Jude Law.
Oh, I'm thinking.
Clive Owen.
I'm thinking of Shame.
Yes, even Shame's about sex addiction. Closer's about infidelity. I mean, those are the worst movies to see on a first date. But you don't go and see a movie on a first date. We've talked about this before.
We did talk about Elizabeth Moss. If I were if I were to have a female in there, I only because of I like her body of work, but I really liked her character in Mad Men because that was essentially it's still me.
She's mousy.
No. She just always
He relates
Oh,
I
okay.
I relate to her role and her position.
because Aaron's a designer.
Not so much now, but in the marketing agency. Yeah. I resonated with that character a lot, and the way she portrayed it was fucking
And he also
great.
gets passed up for his looks and sexuality. For promotion.
No comment.
Well, I think now's a better time to end than ever. So, gentlemen, thank you for coming over this week. It's been a while since both of you guys were in here. So I was looking forward to this a lot because this is where the whole idea of the podcast started was our, dinners at Smitty's eating chicken wings, talking about everything and anything cinema and movie related. So I much appreciate it. For anybody out there who's tuning in for the first time, if you want to reach out to us and send us an idea for a show, or you want to talk to some of us on the show about what we've argued, we're more than willing to engage with the public. You can email us at thereeldebaters@gmail.com. That's REEL, debaters@gmail.com. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram being the big three. Either search The Reel Debaters on Facebook or at Reel Debaters on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us there. We play some fun games online and argue the same shit in real life as much as we can. As much as Instagram is real life, I guess. Who knows anymore? Besides that, I've been Michael Petrow. To my left is
Aaron.
and
Steven.
oh, you guys, you need to come over more often. And we're out.